Hang on. Hang on, kids. Grandpa's got to fix something here. Hang on a minute. Hang on. No, that's not it. Just a minute here. Hang on. That's not it. Hang on. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Hang on here. Let's try this one here. Okay, I'll try this. Whatever. You like this? All right. Okay, I like that. That's even better. What the hell? All right, kids. Good. Everybody groovy? Sorry about that. I want to try something different tonight. Today I was like in this weird mood. I'm just trying to, the usual things. Everybody happy? Everybody groovy? Talk to me. Everybody happy? Thumbs up. My friends, I got to tell you something. We are on the verge of a very, very, very serious problem here. And this is called a race war. Am I overdoing it, you think? You think I'm overdoing it? Look who it is. Shady Acres. This is very interesting. I like this. Somebody said this message is held for review. For what? It was nothing. Yes or no? Are we in the middle of some type of a race war? I think we are. I think they are ready for this. And this Carmelo Anthony, they thought they were ready to go. The George Floyd crew was going. Am I right? You know they want to riot more than anything else. They miss this. They are full of it. Look at this. You're full of whatever. That's Bruce Baggett. I don't know what that means. Whole new angle on the dangle. That's right. You know what's happening here. You're going to put this into people's minds. Have you been paying attention? Am I talking to children? Have you been watching what's going on? They are dying for another George Floyd. They're ready to go. They thought this one might do it, but it didn't work because this kid's guilty. He plunged a knife into this this young man's heart. So that didn't work. But they're going around and they're slugging white people and they're posting it online. And you think that I'm going to somehow maybe entice them? Come on, man. What's the matter with you? You know what's going to happen. You know the cardboard or the plywood folks are going to be. They can't wait. They're talking about reparations. Aren't you? Tell me you're paying attention to what's going on. Tell me you're paying attention. Tell me. Somebody said, "Oh, you're full of shit." Seriously? Where have you been? Do you know the money? BLM, the money. Do I have to remind you? I think you've got amnesia. I think you forgot this. The monstrosity, how we went through this, and the kowtowing, and the kente clause, and the bows, and the mayor of Minnesota crying on the casket, the way they lionize and this apotheosis of this thug who died of an overdose in police custody. And you think this is what? You think who thinks I'm exaggerating? Come on, be honest with me. Who thinks this is the subject of some kind of an exaggeration? Both sides of the enemy. You're right about that. We're seeing it. Look at what's happening to Robinson and elsewhere. Look at what's going on in the rest of the world. I think sometimes people love to be. I think sometimes you feel that if you admit something that you're going to be maybe contributing in a weird way because you're acknowledging it. There are some sick people out there. Have you seen all of the fights, all of the people going into Chipotle and Five Guys, smashing everything, and they tend to be black youth. I'm sure there are a bunch of rednecks somewhere. I'm not seeing this. Maybe there's a bias on this. But here's the problem. I can hear about white juries and white court systems, whatever, all day long. But if you were to sit there and say, okay, let me see if I can use a particular demographic uh, preponderance of my own, no, then you're a racist. What are you going to do about it? Nick fans, animals, absolute animals. You've won a game and you want to tear things up. Animals. I'm looking at it. White sports fanatics destroy things. Okay. There. So what does that mean? I know that. I mean, okay. You see how people. You see what's happening. You see what's happening. The first thing you're saying is, I'm seeing case after case after case after case. It is absolutely unmistakable. There is a whole, and I don't necessarily endorse this, but there's a whole internet section or social media section on black fatigue. I didn't come up with that. They came up with it. Many black people. So the first thing that you want to do is to what? Counter it? No, that's not true. Why? What's the matter? How do you suppose this thing gets fixed? How? How do you expect this to be fixed? Rednecks at Arby's, Arbeys. Rednecks are at Arby's. Excuse me, is this an attempt at some kind of a lucid discussion? What does that mean? I saw a guy one time at the Waffle House. So does this establish refutation of the subject? When you have people like Maxine Waters say, and you go out there and if you see somebody wearing a Trump thing, you hit them or knock them or whatever it is, when you're asking for reparations constantly, when you are being told, when you're telling entire swaths of humanity that they have money coming, that they were born into slavery, that they can expect things because of this slavery that had nothing to do with them. And it's a part Al Green, who just left the Congress, he's saying this. Are you not paying attention? Who is going to counter this? Are you going to just sit back and say, oh, no? Or is this going to go the way of the anti-Semitism thing? Where people said, don't say anything about Israel. Don't say anything about Israel because you'll be an anti-Semite. Don't say anything about them. All right. Well, what about this? Well, that's a different story. Don't say anything because you don't want to be a racist. So I can't say anything about Israel. Can't say anything about Gaza. Can't say anything about the Middle East. Can't say anything about black people. But I got to say, oh yeah, because white people were at Arby's. Do you see how everybody's afraid? You're afraid to say something, but the folks who are actually proposing reparations, they're not afraid. So what are we going to do about it? What are we supposed to do about it? Trump is an evil man. Why is Trump evil? Welcome, Burford. Why is Trump evil? Why do you think? Why is Trump evil? Do you believe Trump is evil? Gangs do more to ruin this nation than Trump. Absolutely. What has Trump done to ruin this nation? Now, I'm not disagreeing with you, but tell me. You can't make these things. You can't say something and then you can't come up with it. Tell me why. Tell me what he's done. It's just like the poor guy, Dave Rubin. You see him, they asked him, he said, tell me one thing that Trump's done to benefit the country. He couldn't answer the question. So my question to you is, my friend, if Trump's doing something to ruin the country, tell me what precisely, what is he doing to ruin the country? Tell me. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here, but a lot of people, as you know, hang on, I'll plug this thing here. A lot of people just say stuff and they really don't know why. Remember those No King protesters? Remember that? Remember the No King folks? And I asked people, what exactly does No Kings mean? And they couldn't even answer the goddamn question. Let me see, is this working? No, it's not working. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I'm trying to read. What you're saying makes no sense. You refer to slavery as a thing that happened. Your opinion is no longer intelligent. No. How am I supposed to? No, pay attention. How am I supposed to quantify slavery, which had nothing to do with you or anybody else? You feel nothing of slavery. This was, by the way, and who was responsible for slavery? Who sold people into slavery? We'll talk about that later on. How am I supposed to deal with that now? How am I supposed to do it? In fact, if anything, I think Israel should be looking to get reparations from the Egyptians. So tell me, how does reparations work? Tell me. He has done a lot of damage to our country. Tell me what he's done. I'm seeing you in portrait mode only on the YT app. Okay, yeah, do something different. Thank you very much. Thank you for pointing that out. Tell me, my friend, tell me specifically. He's a crook. Okay, tell me why. Reparations do not work. I agree. How do you make that's ridiculous? No, reparations are never going to occur. It's bullshit. And if this is the example, if this is the best thing that the black leadership can come up with in Congress, and there's whites as well, reparation, we got some very serious problems here. Various serious problems. Slave auctions were closed on Jewish holiday. Oh, that again. See, this is where we're not going. Read my previous message. I gave you an example. I can't go back and read it. More slavery exists today than any other time in human history. That is correct. And who, by the way, sells slaves into slavery? Who? Who? How do you think this happens? Trump may be a liar, and he may have sold out to big tech and the defense contractors, and he is covering for the Epstein circle. Evil may be there, I guess. Well, I think I think that in many respects you were 100% correct in that. But does it make somebody evil? You can't use this satanic evil stuff anymore because that goes to 90% of what's in politics. Look, one of the things you've got to do is politics is not sloganeering. It's not sloganeering. It's ridiculous. You're arguing whether slavery occurred. Okay, slavery occurred. It was terrible. That's what the 13th Amendment is about. In fact, to be honest with you, the 19th Amendment, the right for women to vote, came later on, after that. So what would you like to be done? Nobody can answer the question. Because what happens is, for the most part, a lot of folks, not you, mind you, get into this stuff where they're basically full of shit. They don't know anything. They've never even looked at has reparations ever worked? No, of course not. But they miss the argument because they think the issue becomes whether slavery occurred or something. So what do you want to do? The biggest problem that we have right now, more than anything else, is we've got to get rid of this stupid two-party system. Two relics that do absolutely nothing for anyone. Nothing. They are antediluvian. They are otiose, archaic, ossified, odious, useless. And we're just talking and yammering, and one of the best parts about social media is that it takes a lot of the pressure off of people rather than going on and trying to do something. We just talk a lot of stuff, and we feel better, and we forget about the whole thing. So you're not going to fix the past of reparations by handing it to people. You see this kid, Carmelo Anthony, went through $900,000, okay? What happened? Parents bought a house, bought some cars, and now he doesn't have any money for his appeal. Hello? Hello? And you want to give how many millions of people? Come on. Within a week, the money will be gone. In fact, all of that will be gone so fast, it'll make your head spin. He was sold out by his own family, his own defense. Think about that. I don't think that's representative of any particular group of people, but this is the type of, mental, rocket scientists that we're dealing with. So what's going to happen? We're waiting for another George Floyd. Do you remember that? I don't think people remember that. They still have this thing, but his leg was on his neck. It had nothing to do with the death. But his leg was on his neck. So what? He was also handcuffed. That had nothing to do with it either. But his leg was on his neck. Why are you saying that? I don't know. I just think that looks icky. And I don't know what police do. And I don't know what accepted procedures are. I don't know. So I just say his leg was on his neck. That's it. I don't know where to go after that. But and he can't breathe. He said he was saying, you can't say, I can't breathe. You can't yell this for 20 minutes. I can't breathe. Are you still yelling that? In fact, today, it's one of the most favorite expressions heard by police is, I can't breathe. I'm pregnant, which is good. That sovereign citizen nonsense, which is kind of a rarity. I'm not driving, I'm traveling, or whatever it is. Why'd you stop me? I know my rights. You can't do that. We live in a world, just watch this. We live in a world where the police mean nothing to people. The police mean nothing. Watch Watch, by the way, something as simple as traffic arrest. Just watch it. It's phenomenal. You won't believe it. And the first thing they always say all the time is they're on the phone. Get off the phone. I'm talking to my phone. I'm talking to my mother. Get off the phone. You can't tell me what to do. Get out of the car. You can't tell me. The MIMS case allows you. No, you can't. I know my rights. And then they say, roll down the window. I'm not going to roll down the window. If you don't roll down the window, I'm going to break the window. You can't do that. Famous last words. Window gets broken. They get dragged. Then they find out person has no license, no registration, no insurance. Elnat, you doing any collaboration soon? Yes. Collaborations, I don't know about collaborations. Tomorrow I've got Zach Costello on at 10. That's going to be groovy. And then, what else are we doing? And then later on this month, we've got Miss Candace Owens, right here. Maybe I'll go through the whole notion of reparations with her. Oh, and no kings. Listen, we have to understand a few things here. You got to ask yourself, are you going to put up with this bullshit anymore? Are you? Answer my question. Because you can do it if you want. Do you want to sit here and argue slavery? You want to do that? Do you want to pay somebody, give somebody a lump sum for something that happened? I don't even know when. And I'm not even sure whether this person had anything to do with this. At what point do you say, okay? At what point do you say, I think I think we're kind of past that now? Sort of. I think we really should be talking about a lot of things in addition to reparations. I think we should be talking about, number one, the decline of it's not always, but in some circles, the black family. Why absenteeism rates are huge. Matricentric, fatherless families. This is a very serious issue. Very serious. Again, it's not everywhere, but it's in huge swaths. You know it and I know it. And why does 14% of the population, roughly, result in 60 to 70% of the prison population? Is that slavery too? This excuse stuff, it's like somebody who won't ever diet. I'm tired. I'm under a lot of stress. I don't have to, there's always an excuse for something. Anybody want to talk about that? No. That's no fun. Let's talk about slavery. Let's talk about this stuff. That's over. But let me tell you something. When the Republicans lose in midterms, and they will, thanks to everything that's going on right now, thanks to people who are so asleep at the wheel, it's not even funny. You're going to see these folks coming back, and they can't wait. And not only that, not only this, this BLM bullshit, but you're also going to see this absolute crazed influx of these strange, deviant type of sexual paraphiles, this movement where you're going to see more drag queens in schools and this lunacy because they can't wait for this. They can't wait. If you notice how it's coming back over, it's bigger and badder than ever. It's coming back. People love that. Absolutely love it. So that's coming back. Everything. And do you think that we're not going to see anything like maybe another, not another, but an Ebola or hantavirus or something? Don't throw your masks away. You know that's coming, don't you? Yeah. But instead, we could talk about slavery. Would you like to talk about slavery? How about, and by the way, I think we're maybe kind of sort of addressing this. How about the number of kids that Trump found that were lost in the Biden system? These unaccompanied adult or unaccompanied minors. Remember that one? They just were pulled in and sold into the trafficking world. They'll talk about Epstein until the end of time. The Democrats love to talk about Epstein, but what about the hundreds of thousands of kids not interested? But Epstein, oh, they care about it. And they think that there's something in the files. They think that there's a file somewhere where you're going to say, oh, look, hey, here's some pictures of Bill Gates and a duck. You're not going to find that. Same thing with JFK stuff. Same thing with UFOs. So do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Move on. It ain't going to happen. I mean, nothing. The thing you should worry about are all of the kids that were brought in and lost. Or we can talk about slavery. That's a good one. Shall we do that? I, like many of you, are saying enough. We've been through this before. We've been through this. We're talking a lot of crap. Did you hear Kansas City was phenomenal, talking about this Albanian island? Come on. Why does, seriously, maybe you can tell me, why does Ivanka Trump actually come out and say something about that? Why did she do that? Maybe you can help me. Why did she do this? What was the purpose of this? Why did Dana Loesch come out and scream about widows? Why? Why did that Alex Clark come out with her ostensibly gay, I can't prove it, sure seems like it, this gay boyfriend because she just can't wait to get married? How come these stupid people say these stupid things in public? How does this happen? I'm beginning to believe that I think we're just habituating ourselves to stupid. And we're becoming so used to it. And we're used to so many lunacy. Laura Loomer. How this woman is, Candace had the best one. She's the only person who can't have a gun, according to her research. In a place where everybody's got a gun, you can't have one. Think about that. You can't have a gun. This says, Esoterica says, what about the Orthodox Jews living under New York City? Nothing ever happened with that one. That was such a great story. How, you're right about that. How did that just go away? If there were Irish people living under the ground, what is this? Let me see if I can explain something to you. Just because a group of people that I'm inquiring about happens to be Jewish or of a Jewish faith or Israeli doesn't mean I hate them. I'm trying to identify the subject matter. Makes sense to me. They used to have stories all the time about these poor Chinese, because, in this country, in this city in particular, wage trafficking is huge. They bring these poor girls in there. They're working the treadles of these sewing machines. It's horrible. So if I talk about Chinese labor, I'm not a xenophobe, but I'm so tired of the fact that you've got to spell this funny. What's wrong with the word Jew? We're not saying anything wrong. I've never ever thought or said anything about the veracity, the validity of a faith. Never. Or that I don't like people, or that I ever want to go back to the Holocaust. No. I never. You haven't either. Maybe you have. I haven't heard it. I think that's ridiculous. Nobody ever talks about, I don't know about this. It's never happened. Do you agree with me? America has had it. America has absolutely had it. Do you hear what I'm saying? They've had it. And I think we got to ask ourselves a very simple question. Why are we bothering with threatening the good people of Iran? Anybody for attacking Iran? Hang on. Anybody for that? Interesting shadows. Who's for that? Anybody here? Maybe our slavery friends. Anybody for attacking Iran? Who? Anybody? Come on, tell me. Who? Tell me why you want to attack Iran. That's a disaster. Have you seen the terrain? The terrain of Tehran? Do you know anything about that? Of course not. People think that they said, we've decimated their navy. What navy? In Tehran, they're saying, we had a navy? Yeah, it's not there anymore. The Strait of Hormuz they own, it's a disaster. Karg Island, and let me tell you where the shit's really going to hit the fan, is in Beirut. Understand that? Beirut. Remember that joke? They asked so-and-so what he thought about Beirut. He said, well, he was pretty good, but I think Hank Aaron was better. Anyway, Hezbollah, I was explaining to somebody, Hezbollah is to the Lebanese, Hamas is to Gaza, to Palestinians, what the IRA was to the Irish, what the ANC was to Nelson Mandela. It's a resistance group. Resistance group with some pretty violent people. They're not just persuasive resistance. Nobody can understand it. Nobody can understand it. How do we expect to live in a world where we're not even empathic, where if I say, well, let me ask you something. What would you do if somebody removed you? What would you do? Ask the Irish how that went. We never seem to learn. Have you noticed that? We never seem to learn. But what we do is we're real. We got a lot of big mouths, though. We got a lot of big mouths. And we say, okay, now how are we going to fix it? Let me see this. Terrorism is a result of injustice. Define terrorism. What is terrorism? What does this mean? What does this mean? A terrorism is used as a pejorative. What does it mean? Look at this. The Islamic Republic is dangerous, but the Iranian people, the Persian people, of course, are beautiful. Absolutely. Let me ask you something. If people looked at us during the 20s, 30s, 40s, when we had not only slavery, we had Jim Crow laws, people lynched, what would they think about the United States? What would you say then? Hey, I'm not for that. Don't look at me. Well, why is this happening? I don't know. It doesn't happen that often. I have a friend of mine who is into this kind of like a foodie, and he says, do you know how many times I've been to Tehran or to Iran? Do you know how many times I've done it? Do you know how many times for food? And women do not have to wear veils. He goes, where is this? I'm sure it's happened. He goes, but just go online and just look. Where are they? Yes, immorality police, but where are they? During the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, people would say, what about all the lynching of black people? People here would say, what black people lynched? I haven't seen this. Where are they lynched? It's terrible. They're all over the place. Where? Here's a picture of a courthouse where all these people are having, they used to have boxed lunches and people would picnics and I've never seen this. I'm sure it's happened. Where is this? I don't know. Remember when the guy got a bird? Remember they dragged this poor black man behind a truck? Remember that? He disintegrated? Never heard of that happening since then. It happened then. When does a people take credit for what other people are doing? That's the thing I don't understand. Here it comes down to this. Do you want to get after people who are bad or evil? Good. You go do something. You go do something and you figure it out. But you're not going to use my military, my men and women, our material, our vaunted, beloved, our men and women to go fight something because you think somebody's evil or I don't like the way they're evil. Enough with this evil stuff. I know people get into this and I know that they love to say things are satanic and things are, dear God, now you want to go after satanic? Well, the Pope just issued an edict or not like an intifada, but a fatwa, so to speak. But the Pope acknowledged or approved of 2,000 more exorcists. Okay, let him go after the devil. What the hell am I supposed to do about that? No, there's evil. What do you suppose we do about the devil? I don't know. Well, then what are we supposed to do? God, you want to go into Iran because they're evil. You want to go after the devil and Satan and Lucifer and demons? You have a demon police? Do they wear plasma guns like with Ghostbusters? What are we supposed to do? People talk so much shit. Say, okay. And everybody's a pedo. Everybody's a pedo. I'm after traffickers. I don't care what you think is sexually titillating. You can have a thing about cannibalism. There are people, remember the New York City cop? Oh, you'll love this. Remember, this was years ago. He was in this online, kind of a LARP, or I don't know what the hell it was. But he was pretending they were cannibals. Cannibals. And he was, he would be online, and he would talk about how they needed to get certain pans, certain size pans to put his wife in. His wife! To consume her. So anyway, so they fired him as a cop. He was a cop. No problem with that. But I said, you can't arrest him for fantasy. But he's sick. But he's not doing anything. But he's sick. There's no law against thinking things or being attracted. Now, if you traffic in pictures of people actually consumed, that may be an issue. Not because you document it, but because it's a crime scene. And nobody understood this. They're like a lot of, well, some of you folks. We got to do something because it's evil. Hell, some of you want to go back and correct slavery after the fact. What are you talking about? How do I go after people who fantasize about human sacrifice? Okay? What would you like to do about that? Hey, are you talking about human sacrifice? Yes, I write books about it. I fantasize about it. I talk to people about it. Well, you're under arrest. I didn't do anything about it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And the same thing goes for this. This is where I get into such problems. If you hate Jews, Catholics, Muslims, Zoroastrians, Methodists, atheists, agnostics, you hate them. Am I going to be able to deport you? No, assuming you're not doing anything that involves violence. But let's assume you're on a college campus and you hate America. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I can't deport you. If you say, I hate America, that's okay. But if somebody says something about Israel or Palestine, see ya. How does that work? How does that work? And nobody seems to understand it. Nobody seems to care about it. It's a thought. So when you talk about people like Epstein being a PDF file, stop using that word. That's not it. Do you know the majority? Now, by the way, these some of these women, they might have been underage, and there's no way to consent. But a lot of these people were not pulled out into vans. A lot of the girls recruited themselves. Doesn't make it even easy. Okay, but it's a different story than what people think. And they love to talk about all this stuff because of this and that. And you know that these people are freaks, the Gateses and others, and maybe Trump, and maybe Clinton, and maybe Zuckerberg. Maybe when you get to a certain point, you get bored with just regular, stuff. You want to go after, the consumption. You want to defile the souls of who knows. It's bizarre. But unless you do something, unless you actually do something. And how do you know that we are not using the information that we get to blackmail other people on our own? If you found out that your number one enemy, let's say you're in the FBI, and you found out that America's enemy was actually involved in these files, wouldn't you say, I'm going to hold off? Because now I own my enemy. I can keep him under control. Once I turn him in, once I let the world know, I can't use the evidence anymore. Or is that wrong? You might say, that's wrong. You have to turn everybody in. Okay. So do me a favor. There's nothing in these files. Quit talking about these files. What do you want? Now, the guy you should be asking is a Dan Bongina. Your little girlfriend, your twit, this important little feckless invertebrate twit who wants to be a tough guy so bad. You see all his security? My God. Say what you want there. Ben Stiller's walking around with nobody. Jerry Seinfeld was walking outside the garden with nobody. I mean, this guy, but Dan Bongina, oh yeah, he's a tough guy. He didn't do anything after he told everybody. You gotta do something about that. Anybody want to talk anymore about slavery? Huh? You got it? I love the cacophony of your responses. I love the veritable endless, beautifully tailored, seemingly disconnected, but wonderful, wonderful. I love that. Please don't stop this. Even though much of what you're saying makes no sense whatsoever, I love it. And I admire that. And I like the fact that on an evening like this, you're out there going out there stirring shit. Sure, that's true. But you have an opinion, a strong opinion. And I think that's great. You know what? I think that's terrific. So anyway, my friends, I hope you don't mind me interrupting. You've been terrific. Some of you people are batshit crazy, but I still love you. I still love you. And you know you love yourself too. You know it. And also, if you've been missing, if you have not caught on or followed the stories up to and involving Candace, the folks, Alex, Vance, Blesh, the widow, the Loomer, you cannot believe how great that story is. You cannot believe it. And I love the fact that Candace is veering off a little bit because I think that well's about to run dry. TPUSA is about to just go under. There's nothing there anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody cares even about this Erica. She's a stonad. She's nothing. She's absolutely nothing. She says something, nothing. She means nothing. She's of no consequence whatsoever. And pretty soon we're going to hear nothing about her again. And I mean, do it for me. Everybody do this. What happened to Alex? Alex who? Can you do this? Come on. Do it. Everybody. Try it. Do it. I love listening to you, Lionel. You're awesome. Thank you for this. I got a lot of stuff to say. I'm fueled by a balanced anger. Come on, do this. No hands. No hands. Come on, try it. Wouldn't you love to do this? Be honest with me. Do you know what you could do? Where would be the first, if I could show you this, where would be the first place you would do this? Where? Any kind of medical facility. Anything. Anything. You know when they put that, when they clean your teeth and they put that apron on you? Oh, incoming, fire in the hole. Hit the deck. When you hit the bridge wave, wear a long coat, nobody will notice. There's something cooking good. I smell God's bakery. What's that? There's a bread baking in the oven. Lord have mercy. And do you know what's so great? And I will say this again, and I've always said this. No matter how smart you think you are, especially many of you with your talk about slavery, because you're experts on slavery, no matter how erudite you are, this always kills you. This will bring the party to, what does it say? Hand to callous? I used to be able to do that when I was a kid. Did you really? In court. That'd be good too. Your Honor, objection. Sustained. Hey. Overruled. Well, on second thought, it's also great to go into like a CVS. I've told you this guy's snacking up and said, listen, can I ask you something? Yeah, you don't mind, do you? There's this stuff called Beano or in court. I love that. Beano, Bono, Bomo, Gas X. Do you know what that would be by any chance? And even though they can, I'm going like this, and they can kind of hear the direction, they look in horror because it's not the sound, it's what follows. That's what scares people. And sometimes based upon the timbre, the resonance, the amount of crepitation, you know how bad it's going to be. SBD is one thing. We're talking about something that has a real kind of a thiosulfate. And by the by, believe it or not, people always say beans, bits. Nah, it's cellulose. What causes, I'm sorry to say this, but the most rancid, feculent, fetid, almost putrescent funk is meat. Absolutely. Meat byproducts, that sort of thing, causes a most feculent aroma of all of them, believe it or not. And also sometimes various biota problems. People have, with seed. I don't want to get too much into it, but the smell of your body, especially during surgery, autopsies. Oh, that's when you really remember. If you ever see an autopsy, it's not the autopsy, it's the smell, because that's putrescence. But believe it or not, the smell of blood, the smell of sometimes cyanide. If cyanide is in the blood or the blood system, or in the stomach, it smells like almonds. It has a kind of a unique smell to it. Certain things, if you prick or puncture certain parts of the body during surgery, it gives a different smell. There's a kind of a minerally, sometimes during cesareans, placental. It's fascinating, and all of these are they just smell iron based. Certain things have certain smell, and there's a reason, I think, for that. And we'll talk about that one day too, up to and including the fact that we've lost all pheromones. We've lost the ability, I think, to be able to perhaps have, because you remember the story years ago. They said that whenever you would, it's been reported, women who are in let's say a sorority house, will oftentimes have their periods or their cycles regulated by virtue of smells, this pheromones, and also different triggers that will synchronize menses. Isn't that interesting? Or we can talk about slavery. That's always a good one. But not for me. Anyway, I love you. I honestly love you. And let me tell you something. Some of you people are just terrific. Don't ever worry, don't ever feel odd that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're always welcome here, no matter what. If you have an opinion, by God, I want to hear it, okay? Within reason. I'm kidding, of course. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much, my friends. I like this. It's different. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Make sure you like this. Da-da.